Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Super Mario All-Stars. This is Super Mario Bros. 2 World 7, and I'm going to use Mario for the first world. World 7 only has two levels in it, World 7 1 and 7 2, as you can see there. And Mario is pretty good for this level. You need somebody that can jump really quickly and be fairly fairly strong rather. So you could jump on the Albatross there if you wanted to, but you'd actually miss two power-up mushrooms, and I'd rather grab those. The first one is all the way over to the right, and World 7 really does throw enemies at you left and right. It's kind of a weird level. It's kind of a sky world, but it's kind of a mix between a sky world and, I guess, a castle world, but you'll see that eventually. I'll just throw random vegetables around, no big deal. Now right here we've got a sub-zone potion in this plant, or this vegetable rather. And that's where our first secret mushroom is. Now the next one I had kind of difficulty finding because the map I found, I think it was on the Marioverse, did not exactly have the second sub-zone potion mentioned, for whatever reason. So what I was trying to do is I was just trying to search around for it. You're supposed to actually ride this Albatross all the way over, but if you use the sub-zone potion here, and go over to this flat area, you'll find the next mushroom. And I also noticed there was kind of something weird that things like World 5 had multiple sub-zone potions, and some of the other worlds had multiple sub-zone potions as well. And some of them respawned, so if you wanted to explore the sub-zone, I guess you could. But anyways, we need to ride this Albatross over. It's kind of weird. It's like a sky world and there's some sort of a post office or something in the background. We get to go all the way over here. And I guess as Luigi you could probably avoid that. But we're just Mario, and Mario's a better choice. You're much quicker as Mario. And there's also a reason why I selected the players that I did for each level, and you'll see that at the end of this episode. Now it's good to get the Starman here because there's a Shy Guy towards the bottom that's very difficult to get to, or very difficult to kill. Now this level does, again, throw in a lot of enemies at you, so that's okay though. It's actually a pretty cool level, or pretty cool world rather. It's kind of interesting how they selected this sort of layout and design for the last level or the last world of Super Mario Bros. 2. It keeps with the surrealist theme. And it is pretty difficult. I would say it's definitely more difficult than level 5. Especially if you're trying to avoid getting hit like I am. Stupidly enough. Because I could just kill enough enemies and easily get a Vitality Heart there. Another thing to note is, you'll notice there are 3 levels in each world, except for World 7, so that means there are 20 worlds in total. 20 levels, sorry. 20 levels, 7 worlds. And a partridge in a pear tree. This is another one of those birdos that spits out nothing but fire, I believe. So I do stand corrected, apart from World 5-1, that this situation does happen again. And I like how they give us a Vitality Heart towards the end, you know, as if we needed it. The final world, I'm going to choose the Princess. The Princess is very useful for this world, and I would probably recommend the Princess, definitely. There's only one drawback to the Princess, and that's because she's the weakest character. There's one section of this level that becomes really painfully slow and tedious. But this is the longest level of the entire game, and it is a giant maze, but eventually you'll be able to figure it out. There's only so many directions you can go, and since you don't have a time limit, you can kind of slowly figure out where to go. The only thing that would make it challenging, though, is if you get lost, it's easy to get hit, And you still have to find ways to killing enemies to get vitality hearts, so... This is where the princess is probably the weakest, because we have to lift up all these power mushrooms, or power blocks, or whatever you want to call them. Toadstool blocks. And yes, I get hit here, but I'm not really concerned about that too much. And you could get the cherries and get a Starman if you wanted to, but we are almost on our way to having a power mushroom. The first power mushroom is easy to get. Well, you can go 2 different directions in this level, and I'll be not guaranteed to get a power mushroom, but it'll be easy to get the power mushroom. But if you want to get both of them, you have to do a bit of backtracking. And that's going to eat up some time, so we can talk amongst ourselves. Aren't you glad they introduced the super jump into this game? Which they didn't have for Super Mario Bros. 3. And it would have been kind of useful, but they have other power-ups in Super Mario Bros. 3 that kind of make the super jump pointless. I'm noticing here that I was invincible at a certain section. Even though it looks like the Sparkos are hitting me, I'm really not being hit by the Sparkos because they're not overlapping onto the chain. There's a lot of chains in this castle for some reason. And in we go! Now this section was just trying to figure out how to not get hit. But I figured it out. This section's kind of a pain in the ass too. They're not gonna give us level 7 on a silver platter here. They're gonna make us work for it. Absolutely. Here you kind of have the super jump, so... Or at least as the princess you do. If you were Toadstool, it would be really difficult to make that jump. Because the princess, you can at least float for a little while. And that's rather nice. Thankfully we made it through that. Notice there's a weird looking curtain thing in the background. I don't know what that meant. We hear this Birdo sound, so we must be getting close to the end of the level. Are we? Well, in a way. We'll get to that locked door in a second. That's the good thing about the princess, is you can jump really far through here and really jump horizontally so that you can kind of avoid some of these enemies. I was trying to figure out what other characters might be good in this level. Luigi might be good, but the princess is just almost unbeatable for this level. It's kind of ironic, too, in a way, because if you think, you know, in Super Mario Bros. And the original Super Mario Bros. 2 Doki Doki Panic, or the Lost Levels, it was Mario who's trying to save the princess. And now the princess here is trying to save Mario from whatever is going on in Mario Land. And we'll get to that in a moment. Like I said, I want you to remember what subcon actually means. It's short for something. And for years, I didn't even think about what it was for, like short for. I was like, what the hell is a subcon? Thought they just made it up. They didn't. What we want to do is we want to jump up here, because it looks like I'm kind of backtracking in the level. But what I'm doing is I'm showing where the other super mushroom is. I debated on whether or not I wanted to show this, but I figured I might as well. It's kind of easy to avoid that fire, though. Don't go over here, that's a bomb, but you do want to go over here. Make sure you don't get the doors confused. Anyways, that wraps up that power mushroom, and it's worth getting. Especially for the final couple of bosses, and yes, there's going to be more than one boss. It doesn't hurt to have a little bit of a buffer zone, if you will. Here we can just kind of super jump to avoid going back down and back up again. This part's kind of difficult, but again, as the princess, you can kind of hover and wait until You need to land at the right time. There's a way to go through this unscathed. Just take your time and you'll be okay. Also notice in the background there's some sort of a weird looking Castlevania-like staircase there. I guess they had to put the background in there somehow, I guess. Let's get rid of these Sparkos. Here's a Vitality Heart, but we don't need it right now. This may be one of the last Vitality Hearts you can get, so... if you want to get some Vitality Hearts, get them now, because once you get this Birdo taken care of... and this Phanto at the top of Birdo there is kind of your clue that we need to get rid of Birdo. Because he gets up a key. And we need the key. Not on my watch, Phanto. All the characters kind of sweat when they pick up a key, or an object, or a vegetable. I think. I know Luigi does, and I know Mario does, and I can't remember if Toadstool does or not. I'll have to double check on that, but then again, this is the last episode of Super Mario Bros. 2, so you might want to find out for yourself, boys and girls, and ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you a little bit of homework. This is a fun game, though, it really is. Now is our final boss. You'll notice we had to defeat a hawk mouth that was actually flying at us, but here's our final boss, and he's Wart. And I kind of wonder if this is where Wario kind of originated from. Because Wario and Wart... well, no, probably not. I was just thinking with a W-A. You know? Wart. But anyways, Wart doesn't want his vegetables, and he conveniently has a vegetable generator in his room, which is kind of odd for a man who doesn't want to eat his vegetables. But it's kind of like one of those Bond villains. They always leave the way to get rid of them conveniently in sight, I guess. And scratch what I said about Wart and Wario, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But you will see Wart again in another Nintendo game that I have thoughts about Let's Playing because I enjoy it. Just think about it. What do the characters Wart and Dr. Wright from SimCity have in common? What game do they have in common? It's a trivia question for you. See if you can answer that one. Anyways, we defeated Wart. And he coughs and he falls off the screen. So what do we gotta do now? What's the ending? Well, let's find out. We pull out this little stopper in the jar. And we have some friends. We've saved somebody. We saved a kingdom, I guess. And we're in the Sky World. This is why I chose what I chose. There's 20 levels, and this way, every character gets an equal number of levels. Now they're passing off the dead, I assume dead and stuffed body Wart. Maybe they're gonna put it somewhere. I don't know. Bury it. Put it on a pedestal. Put the head on a pike. I don't know. And you may think these little characters are Bezos. They're really not. They're another type of character. Wart kind of stopped them up. Okay, now here's the spoiler of the game. Mario was dreaming the entire thing all along. And subcon stands for subconscious. Which, for the longest time, I couldn't figure the hell out what that meant. Like, subcon? I don't know. And Mario's got a nice little nightcap there, although I don't know why his nightcap is blue. His nightcap should be red, because he's Mario. He usually wears a red cap. Now this tells us what enemies were in the game. Well, our cast first. I like that the princess didn't need saving in this game. Let's see if I got these names correct. I got Bezo correct. Porcupo, that's the one I couldn't remember. I could have looked it up, but it's gonna have fun with it. Hoopstar. Thought it was a hoopster, but Hoopstar. Pidgeot, not Pigeon. Pigeon, whatever. Panzer, that's the one I can never remember. That's Albatos, not Albatross, whatever. Phanto. And it's not Sparko, but I think it should be Sparko. And that's Subcon. Pokey. That's incorrect, actually. Birdo and Ostro are... those are incorrect. Autobomb. Cobrat. Mauser and Freyguy. That's a translation problem. Claw, Glip. So that makes me wonder if that's supposed to be Cried or Clyde? No, I'm just kidding. And there's our old friend Wart. I always like the ending music of this game. At any rate, this wraps up my Let's Play of Super Mario Bros. 2. I may be taking a slight break between this game and Super Mario Bros. 3. Also, I do want to go ahead and announce Super Metroid is a very popular game for speedrunning. I actually went and copied Zosty's run, Zosty's record run. Well, his route anyways, and some of his tricks. I wasn't able to pull off the time he did, but I managed a game time of 1 hour and 53 minutes for... Sorry, yeah, 1 hour 53 minutes for 100% completion. And I'm going to divide that up and kind of explain that, and I don't think I'm going to promote that very much, but have kind of an exclusive thing to my channel there, so... If you see a Super Metroid video coming up soon, well, enjoy it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.